Hey guys, so I just wanted to share a short idea with you. There are two types of stories where Hollywood will embellish and tweak the story to try to make a better movie. So, in one situation, there's a good story that they'll tweak, they'll embellish, they'll add on a little bit to make it from a good story into a great movie. And then there are some stories which are great. If you just left it as it was, it would be amazing. And Hollywood tweaks it, Hollywood embellishes, and they end up messing up the story. And one such movie comes to mind where most people knew the details, they knew the story, and they were very excited because it's an incredible story in its own right. And I was extremely excited. The trailer came out, it was incredible. And then the movie came and flopped. And Exodus, Gods and Kings disappointed almost everybody who watched the movie. If you look at the story in its own right, it's amazing. It's an unbelievable story. You have the Jewish people enslaved, oppressed for a couple hundred years by the most powerful kingdom in the world, most powerful nation. Their leader is then born, raised in the palace of their oppressors. He discovers who he is. He identifies with his people. He identifies with his nation. He then commits a few actions which lead to him fleeing the country. He then has an encounter with God in a burning bush who tells him, you're going to save the Jewish people. You're going to take them out of this land. You're going to take them to the land of Israel. He gets married, has kids, comes back, and marches into the palace of the most powerful nation in the world and demands that his people be let go. And Paro, rightfully so, I don't think anybody can blame him. He laughs in his face. It's like, who the heck are you? I'm not letting these people go. What happens? We then see the 10 plagues that you would never be able to dream of. They happen in front of these people's eyes. Water turning into blood, hail coming down in a mixture of fire and ice, wild animals taking over the country, locusts devouring everything in sight. You have the most unbelievable plagues happen. And this week really is kind of the ending of all of the events that have been happening. Obviously, we still have to go travel through the desert. We still have to receive the Torah. We still have to go to Israel. But the splitting of the sea is really where our struggle with the Egyptians comes to an end. And what most people don't realize is that when we talk about the Jewish people leaving Egypt, when we talk about our ancestors receiving the Torah, we're only referring, it was 1/5 of the Jewish people left. 4/5 of the Jewish people died during the plague of Choshech, during the plague of darkness. And the question that has to be asked is why? What was so different about this 1/5 of the Jewish people than the other 4/5? Because we know there's a concept that the Jewish people were on the lowest level of spirituality when we left Egypt. We were as far away from God as you could possibly be. So what was the differentiating factor between this 1/5 and the other 4/5 that died? And the answer is really a life-changing answer. 1/5 of the people had one very big difference. At that point, everybody believed in God. Every single person believed in God. It was impossible not to. You couldn't experience what they just experienced and not believe in God. It was an impossible feat. But what happened is that 4/5 of the Jewish people saw these things happen, but they looked at themselves and they said, you know what? I can't change though. I can't become the Jew that I need to be in order to receive the Torah from God. I can't become the Jew I need to be in order to march into the land of Israel. It's impossible. God can't help me with that. And 1/5 of the Jewish people saw everything that happened. And they saw how much God believed in them. And they said, you know what? I'm on a very low level right now. I'm not where I need to be, but I can get there. God believes in me enough that I can change. I can become that person. I can become that Jew. And that was the only difference that they needed. That was the only thing that was the only differentiating factor between dying during the plague of Choshech, dying during the plague of darkness, and becoming a part of one of the most incredible stories in world history. That was the only difference, was them believing in themselves and understanding that God believed in them. And that's many times what holds us back from accomplishing the things that we need to accomplish and becoming the people that we need to be, is we don't necessarily believe in ourselves and we don't believe that God believes in us. But we have to understand one thing, is that if we're here today, if I woke up this morning, I'm here for a reason. I'm here for a purpose. And God believes in me enough to have brought me back another day. God believes in me enough to have put me in the situations that I'm in, to have put me in the world that I'm in, to accomplish what I need to accomplish. Maybe I'm not there. And maybe it's going to take a long time for me to get there. And maybe I need to work at certain things in order to get there. But believing that I'm able to get there, believing that God believes in the talent and potential that I have is huge. It's the difference between me becoming a great person, me becoming a great Jew, and me just going through my life, living my life every day in mediocrity and not changing who I am and not becoming the person I need to become. So my hope and my blessing is that for all of us to understand the talent and potential that we all have, and understanding that God sees so much talent and so much potential in each and every one of us, and using that and becoming the best person and the best Jew that we all can be. Have an unbelievable Shabbos.